just in the MPL season, but it's a first for Cram. And there was some theory crafting on the side of MPL PH during the playoffs where Esmeralda is not too bad of a counter into Ivan, Izanami, Amao, and even the Harith, just because the amount being fun. But the game is fun. We're back into it.
And now it is time to forget about the history of this series and focus on the present as well. SRGOG just need one victory. Homeboys have been able to snatch a game off of them. And if they're able to do so again, it would be a huge upset because it would bring us to a full series.
Yep, Benedetta into Esmeralda. I don't remember the last time we've seen this matchup. But with a Bruno, so you look to hit pretty hard early on, a bit of a domination. Whoa, Ivan. That is way too much health loss.
Well, it's somewhat to be expected. Badang early is definitely going to lose to the Kalea, and because Yums is going to be able to heal himself up most of the time, you end up losing trades even harder than usual. Thus, it's just better not to interact.
So support emblem for the Esmeralda instead of the common emblem. Even the Festival of Blood and the Pure Rage. It's so much damage early on. First blood for SRG.
Here we talked about how much better Kalea is at trading compared to Badang, but that caught me by surprise.
I didn't expect Ivan to just blow up like that.
That is unfortunate. That means that Ivan is probably not going to be able to hit level 4 by the time the first turtle comes around, and considering that, SRGOG should be able to get it for free.
They're trying to put some pressure on the Cram. Bringing in Amao, but sadly the wave is going to push in, and Stormy will end up bailing Cram out of that sticky situation. First turtle now on the table. Ivan is coming in from the mid lane. There's a bit of an angle for a setup here. He's not going to hit 4 in time, and I don't think Homeboys can buy enough time for him to hit 4.
Looks like they are actually delaying it enough though. Yums will eventually scout him out. Somehow Ivan actually has more EXP comparatively, so he definitely got some minions somewhere.
And here he goes, his level 4, flickers in, finds Sakai's, petrified from Bell, Sakai's is the target, dashes away but gets pulled back by Izanami, and a good trade as Amao finds a turtle, a grab with the Tsunami Slam, kills off Ivan, but Homeboys gets a better trade at the end of it.
That is definitely worth it. Val should be able to get out here as well, so that's really, really good. You get the turtle, you kill Skies at the first objective contestation, and that is exactly the start that Homeboys want.
Amao also is going to take this camp away to almost 2 full levels ahead of Sakai's. Couldn't get any better for this Joy. Even though he didn't get the kill, it was more than enough to set him ahead of this Fredrin.
Yeah, Fredrin is a hero that's very dependent on specific timings. Because he clears slowly, he is very reliant on his durability to survive on the map and just take camps exactly when he is supposed to. But a death in the first turtle is very detrimental because it allowed Amao to start clearing up his jungle, and now that EXP difference may be biting him.
Cram falling Starman, getting out of that situation. Keeps himself alive. Sakai's will be forced to make a detour just to make sure that Cram is safe. Ivan continues to put on pressure on the Innocent. MelQT freezing the wave. Homeboys are doing these housekeeping so well.
Yeah, you can tell that this team has learned from their previous exchanges. Ooh, Flicker forced out from Stormy. He'll be able to escape from Izanami and Bell. But Homeboys are accelerating the pressure. This is exactly what they need to do. Keep the EXP deficit notable for as long as possible. And you will put SRGOG in a position where they can't even trade for efficiency.
They got the Electro final blow out from Bell early on. Second turtle. Will be spawning in 10 seconds. Cram really not doing too well in the trade department. The rest of Homeboy shows up. Cram once more absorbs the pressure. But with the level lead that Amao has, it is going to be an uphill retribution battle for Sakai.
This guy's only just hit level 7, so Amao's still in a very good spot comparatively. So Selangor Red Giant's gonna be the first ones on top of the turtle.
Instead of the turtle, they go for the backline. Izanami is one of the targets, but they found a better one, which is Bell. And then Izanami will soon follow. Yums and Cram getting work done at the cost of Sakai. But with that, SRG traded upwards.
It's not too bad. 1 for 2, though they do lose their jungler, so that slows down the objective contention. But since there is a numerical advantage, Amao can't just go in and try and take that either. It will end up being quite worth it. But it does mean that Skies takes his second death of the game, and the more this Brethren goes down, the more difficult it's going to be for him to survive the mid-game engages. I think SRG OG are now trying to aim for space for Innocent.
Even going for the Impure Rage too, so there is that priority on wanting to get a hit. Yumes loses half his health bar, lethal ignition triggered from Vel too. They get the Feather Airstrike back up, Vel loses half of his health bar. Cram is just dancing around Ivan, making sure that he is a nuisance. Now Ivan turns on him. Yumes comes in to help with the counter engage, grabs his target into a taunt. Amal though still survives, but Yumes will not. Cram though runs him down with a flicker on top of Ivan, and Ivan shall go down. Cram continues to chase. Amal looks like a pretty juicy target. Izanami pulls it back. Electro final blow into a petrified Cram, punished for the overextension as Sakai will try to finish off the objective. Amal shows up, couldn't get the steal, and SRGOG walks away with something.
That's actually still pretty good for the Homeboys. Even though they lose the turtle, they're able to punish Cram. The Esmeralda goes down, and since he did have 3 kills, that is actually a bounty going over to them. Though the net worth difference is still pretty even. I imagine that Innocent has been farming pretty safely in the gold lane. And ideally, Homeboys needs to shift some of their attention down here. Ooh,
Getting a figure out of Stormy too. Just at the timing that he runs out of mana, and you want a Homeboys to shift their attention down bot. They are doing exactly that. Ivan with a catch onto Yumes again, pin him to the wall with the fist crack. Yumes really wants to get out of there. Innocent also in danger. Zaman forced electrifying beast all out. Innocent dancing around the Heart's Claw, enough to keep it alive, and Homeboys gets nothing.
Really, really well done there from SRG OG, staying under tower just long enough to avoid Amal diving from the back, but just far enough so that Homeboys can't really try and go for the kills from the front either. They need to keep Innocent alive at this point.
The guys also tries to delay it and buy enough time for Yumes and Innocent to get back, so that structure will be kept alive. In fact, Yumes is looking for a potential target, will not commit to Tsunami Slam, doesn't have it just yet. But the airstrike out, MelQT forced to back off.
Looking at the itemization, as expected, Sky is going to be going for that Radiant Armor as the first item. Most of the damage from Homeboys is magicals, and the Dreadnought Armor will help deal with Fel somewhat, so definitely the right items to go for. I am curious that Yumes went for Oracle though.
Ivan goes for the engage on the instant, and this time with the help of Fel, Petrify is more than enough. He gets grabbed underneath the turret, the eye for an eye from Fel! Outplays Yumes, 2 more Homeboys in the bottom lane.
And now that is the positive trade that Homeboys needs. That's the one that really starts breaking the early game wide open. This is very, very good. This is exactly the position Homeboys wants to be in. The trades haven't been the cleanest, but they have been in their favor. They just needed to be able to stop the pressure from Innocent once, and they were able to get that. This means MelQT gets a tower for free down bottom. He is now officially unlocked from the lane. He can start joining fights.
And now they turn on the Cram, who also has to flicker away. Ivan's Badang is starting to be problematic for SRG OG to deal with.
That is why Homeboys very comfortable with locking that hero in quite early in the draft. Now SRG OG going to need to delay the game a little bit longer. They still have the bulkiness needed to contest neutrals, but they don't quite have as much independence comparatively to go for a split push. A lot of it is going to be on Cram.
Purify out from MelQT. He even got the Favor's Blessing for his boots. We saw the Oracle, I think, for Ivan. But the airstrike used by Stormy. Ivan's going to cancel it instantly. Izanami gets jumped on, but able to juke his way out of that. And Stormy now might be a casualty, but flies away in time. As Izanami ends up going down, Vel also falls. Lord secured by Amal. SRG OG will get 2 bodies in return.
Okay, that is actually a trade that SRG OG is okay with, but Homeboys getting the Lord will help them secure a few more structures. And enough of their players were able to come out of that fight to make sure that SRG OG isn't able to get building damage done. But it was still a pretty good fight split. They need to be more respectful of their positioning.
Amal was thinking about an ambush, but decides against it. Didn't get to mention this early on, but the first item for Yumes was actually the Oracle, right, for the extra sustain in these fights. SRG OG able to clear out the middle wave, but now has to start considering to handle that Lord. So eventually this mid-tier 1 of SRG OG will go down.
I'm kind of surprised of what Oracle. Oh, the Fist Crack comes out. Yumes is locked down.
Forced to use a Tsunami Slam just to get out of it. Even the Feather Airstrike is committed, so the base defense slightly weaker than what SRG OG would like. Homeboys finding a very reasonable, very meaningful goal advantage. First time in this series too. The Lord will still end up getting the charge in. There's still another Empowered Catapult at full health. Homeboys really thinking about pushing the envelope a little bit with Vel almost taking out Innocent, but he will do that at the cost of his life. This is great for the Homeboys, and they walk away with an inhibitor.
Better airstrike. Oh, doesn't quite finish off Ivan. The shield from the fist break gets him out of there. Vel doing what exactly he needs to do, finding Innocent in these exchanges, making sure that Bruno isn't given enough time and space to scale up into the issue that cost Homeboys games 1 and 2. And this is really, really good now. It's a 3K lead for Homeboys. They're even able to get a free tier 2 up top. The items are really starting to roll in. Wishing Lantern now complete for Amal, and that's going to help deal with even the Radiance coming out of SRG.
This is starting to get a bit hairy for SRG OG. Homeboys needed some time in the earlier parts of the series, but now they've cracked the code. But Innocent hits another power spike. Malefic Gun. That could be what changes it all for SRG OG. The only way to make sure that they stay dead is Homeboys cracking the crystal. Holy Crystal out for MalQT. Big critical mass items for the Homeboys.
Yeah, this is now a power spike officially for the Homeboys, and they were already winning out trades pretty effectively before that. Even a Tina shield now purchased for Skies, he just has no leeway to actually go for any sort of damage item, and that means he really is just a big body, one that can be circumvented if Homeboys approaches the fight at a different angle. We talked about this after the first 2 games. Homeboys needed to shift their gameplay approach. They needed to look at different ways to start fights, different ways to target the backline. And I feel like that is exactly what we are seeing. I wasn't sure if they'd be able to do it, but the adjustment has happened. And now they're looking a lot more comfortable up against the Giants.
Doing that even from the start of the game too, right? Targeting the side lanes, making sure that they are missing out on whatever XP is available on the map. Homeboys trying to put their bodies forward. They really want to get the Lord and SRG OG ready to go for a contest. Diamond Force laid out. There is a Purify being used. Tsunami to end up going down. Stormy and Innocent, many space to do work. Fail again with the assassination on the Innocent, and he goes down. The Sun guys ends up falling, and Lord for Amal. Cram just could not do enough to hold back the Homeboys. And Vel once more is the savior of the team. Cram turns it around, finds the kill. Diamond Force, MalQT dashes around. Chrono dash, Cram pinned to the wall. Still surviving with the shield siphon, but eventually MalQT collects the kill.
They are doing it, Husky. The Homeboys are doing it right now. Well, Stormy gonna cut that in half just a little bit, but the damage is still done. That was very effectively a team fight won, and space created. Innocent falls once again, and that means that he is not really a concern anymore. He's not going to be able to make the hero plays. We might actually get to witness a full series here. We are seeing a team push the Giants to the brink.
Better get myself some hot pot after this series, because it's deserving of a great reward at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the night. We might even go past 12 AM, and I'm not complaining at this point. SRG OG and Homeboys making every single moment worth it. Lord will be easily taken care of. Homeboys stagnating at the 3.5k goal lead since the last time they accomplished that. But SRG OG put on the back foot. Let's see if they can come back again by means of miraculous plays. Maybe just finding the chink in the armor of the Homeboys.
Speaking of armor, Brute Force Breastplate completed by Izanami. He knows he can afford to take a slightly more aggressive stance, so a slight bit of durability is going to go a long way in assisting with that. While I did like the surprise of Cram's Esmeralda, we're now seeing that even though it is able to drain the shields of many of the heroes on the Homeboy side, the lack of lockdown is really costing SRG OG. They're not able to stop Amal and Vel just diving the backline and making life difficult for Innocent. I will say though, despite all of that, Innocent is only 300 gold behind MalQT.
Which is crazy. He's 1-3. Mel is 3-0.
How does he do this?
It's Innocent. It's the only logical explanation.
The only logical explanation is that he's guilty of something. Maybe he robbed the bank somewhere along the way.
If Innocent walks into my bank, he can take the cash. I'll give That's why I'm not That's why I'm not managing a bank.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. It means that the Bruno actually can still be a threat, but at this stage, SRGOG is well aware that Vel is going to be looking for Innocent every single fight. Stormy has been trying to pop the feathered airstrike in dangerous positions to bait Vel into him, but Vel knows that that is how they lost game number 1. He is not going to recreate that mistake, and looking for the Bruno so far has been very successful, so I imagine he's going to keep doing it.
This could be a potential make and break moment, right? Vel has set up the top wave too. Bottom wave manageable. Winter Crown for Vel. So good luck trying to one-shot him. The guys have no choice but to show himself. Yums too, they gotta make a big decision. Cram did show in the top lane, so Homebois are gonna push the envelope a little bit. Getting more and more deep into the SRG waters. Innocent! Too dangerous! But they get the grab on the Vel. Taunting couldn't use the Winter Crown. Vel goes down. They get the engage on Innocent, and Innocent ends up falling with the help of Izanami. They power onto him. And Praetor's Wrath comes up, better airstrike gets used. Izanami drops the Stormy. Yums comes back to life with the immortality. Salmon Force now expires somehow. SRG OG trades even. And Cram, he is a big bad monster. Flickers onto MelQT, falling Star Moon. Cram collects the kill as the captain of SRG OG to keep them afloat.
Homebois did a really good job actually of finding Innocent, but they weren't able to whittle down Cram enough, and losing Izanami and Vel means that everyone left on the field is vulnerable to this Esmeralda. So even though SRGOG lost their main DPS and their jungler, they are actually the ones who remain in control of the Lord Pit.
Where to Innocent gets that Winds of Nature, which will probably be his last item. He did have the Rose Gold meter just now. Stormy taking an aggressive stance, clears out mid lane. Homebois back to the dance again. Cram has been diligently working on the Lord. Can Vel do the hero play again? Petrify up in 5 seconds. He's taking that angle. Yums gets the grab. They make the first move onto Izanami. Izanami, Crimson Beacon, tries to survive. Let go away from Stormy to buy distance. And Vel now cannot get an angle in, but steals the Lord somehow. So Homebois are still in it.
All right, sure. The Lord going to be secured here. That means SRG OG going to need to back off and play defensive. They actually did a pretty good job there. Yums threw his body away to make sure that Innocent could play a defensive position and secure their defense against Vel's backdoor attempt. But the Lord now going to be pushing in. There is only 2 inhibitors standing for the side of SRG OG. They have the damage to clear it. Homebois aren't really in position to regroup and push with this, so I don't think this is it yet for the Red Giants.
I don't think so either. But I want to see Homebois do some permanent damage to the base. Set them up for success in the coming few minutes. Cram's going to be hiding in the bush. He's going to try and look for Vel, maybe. He's going to do that, right? Keep Vel at bay so that the rest of his team could deal with the Lord. Ideally, they want to keep inhibitors up, but I don't think it's possible in the mid lane. Wow, that feather airstrike stings. Half of MelQT's health bar gone. Cram clears out the top wave. Mid lane still under siege, and MelQT forces his way through. And now Ivan with the fist break crack onto Cram. Vel works with the last inhibitor on the top side. Lord gets taken care of. Another electrify roll into a petrified Vel. Hits the backline. Stormy ends up going down. They get the Cram use. Really trying to keep this game alive. And Innocent, he's free hitting everyone. Vel finally goes down, and now Cram, Sakai, and Innocent works together hand in hand to keep Homeboi's horde at bay. Innocent free hitting all the targets. MelQT goes up forward with a purify. Innocent once more keeps SRG OG afloat.
Oh man, I said that that wasn't going to be it yet for the Red Giants, but man, it was close, and Innocent was able to do so much DPS, not threatened. Vel actually saved his Electro Final Blow quite a long time to finish off Stormy. The big issue actually was Cram in that situation. He was the first player initiated on. He ate multiple abilities, and he was still alive at the very end and nearly full HP. The net worth starting to shift back, but Homebois still have way more space on the map to play with.
The only advantage Homebois have right now is that SRG OG's base is bare. With a Benedetta on their side, with a Joy on their side, so many angles to play that macro game for the win. Next Lord, 30 seconds, bottom side of the map. What's the comeback mechanic from SRG OG? They don't really have the best members to manage waves either.
They might actually just have to keep winning fights like that. they are going to need to consistently and consequently win nail-biter trades, which is nearly impossible for most teams. But if anyone's going to do it, it is them. Homeboys cannot afford to let their guard down just yet.
Even Cram transitioning to get even more damage, right? Holy Crystal. Cram actually found Vel in the top lane. So that will stall up the top lane push, at least for a bit. Make the rest of the equilibrium more manageable. But it's a Benedetta. So many angles that Vel can cut through. It's Cram's job to find him.
Cram gonna be stalking Vel into the mid lane, making sure that this Benedetta is always accounted for so that he can't get a split push going, or he can't threaten a backline flank onto Innocent again. With the base naked, there is always the risk of a backdoor attempt. And Homeboys need to keep that in mind as well. That is a possible way to close out this game and bring us to a full series. SRG OG are definitely at a disadvantage. But in terms of direct team fighting, both teams are going to be pretty equal at this point. We've reached a point where basically every player on the map is going to be full build.
Power Potion for Innocent, Brute Force Breastplate for Cram, Yume's hitting it, Radiant Armor. Maybe those items are coming in just on time. Watch out for Vel once more on the map. A scary blip that could flip the script. The guy's body ahead. Izanami, very elusive too. Yumes opens the map, sees Ivan, but where's Vel? That is the important question. Midwave gets cut too. Now Vel shows himself. Stormy's gonna make contact, and now this is the coin flip. The Innocent forced away. They all dive on the Innocent with the Wisdom Nature, trying to survive. Izanami will somehow stay alive. Lord! What's the guys? But Innocent is left alone. There's a minute in the mid lane. Innocent comes back to life with immortality, but Vel slices him to ribbons. And Homeboys rejoice. La Familia, Juego numero 5 has been secured. And we're going the distance to find out who deserves to go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
A